Hello students, this is the second video of periodic classification of elements. We have completed Dubé-Reiner's classification and Newland's classification based on octave rule. This is the third classification of a very famous scientist which was a Russian scientist, and his full name was Dmitry Ivanovich Mendeleev. His classification was a very famous periodic classification of elements because he had done a meticulous work. He classified all the elements known at his time. 63 elements were known at the time of Mendeleev, and he formed a table. In a tabular form, he classified all the 63 elements. So he has done a tremendous work for classifying elements. The name, as you know, you should know the name, Dmitry Ivanovich Mendeleev. He was a Russian scientist, and in about 1866 octave law of Newland's had come, and after around 3-4 years, in around 1869, he has given his table in Russian. And this table is not exactly of Mendeleev. It is modified several times so that it will be a comprehensive table, can easily be understood. The Mendeleev has given the table in Russian, and it is somewhat different from this. This is a table of 1872 in this form. So what is the periodic classification of Mendeleev? First of all, we will see the definition of Mendeleev's periodic law. What is Mendeleev's periodic law and why we are calling this law as periodic? First, you should know the definition, and you learn this definition by heart. Remember this. So what is definition? Definition is that the properties of elements are the periodic function. Properties of elements are the periodic function of their atomic masses. Atomic masses. What does it mean? What does it mean that the properties of elements are periodic function of their atomic masses? This definition, for sure, it explains that all the elements, they are classified based on their atomic masses. So Mendeleev, he took atomic mass as the fundamental property of elements to classify them. This is one point, that Mendeleev took atomic masses as Newland, as Dubé-Reiner, like them. He also took atomic masses as the fundamental property to classify all the elements in the table. So this is the first thing. Second, why it is known as periodic function? What is periodic function? Periodic function means when these elements, they are arranged in increasing order of their atomic mass. Here hydrogen is the lightest, and suppose this bismuth is the heaviest. So if they are arranged in their increasing atomic mass, then what happened? After a regular interval, the element repeats the property of the elements, they are repeated. What does it mean? Suppose here lithium is there. So lithium has certain properties, and after so much, after beryllium, boron, after going up to here, when sodium comes, so sodium has the property of lithium. Their properties, they are similar. The property of sodium repeats as of the property of lithium. So after a certain interval, after a fixed or regular interval, the properties of elements, they repeat themselves. That is, there is a periodicity in the properties of elements. That's why it is known as periodic table. Periodic table of elements. What we have studied by this definition, that is, atomic masses, they are arranged in increasing order from left to right, and second, after an interval, element comes beneath the first one which have similar properties. That is, these have periodicity in their properties. This is how the definition of Mendeleev's periodic law is explained. Now, what is Mendeleev periodic law? How he classified these elements at the time? 63 were known, and he tabulated all the 63. He made this type of table. What is this table? It has about 1, 2, 3, 4. I should write in Roman. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. These are 8 vertical columns, vertical from top to bottom, vertically placed. So these 8 are vertical columns whom Mendeleev called as groups. So remember, vertical columns are groups. Vertical columns are known as groups, like this. 8 vertical columns are there, and you can see here that each vertical column is divided into 2 vertical lines. This is A, this is B, this is A, B, A, B, A, B, A, B, A, B, A, B. So out of these 8 groups, 7 groups, they are divided into two subgroups. This A and B, they are known as subgroups. So first group, it has 2 subgroups, A and B. Second has 2 subgroups. In A, we have hydrogen, lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium and cesium. In B, we have copper, silver and gold. So each group, it is divided into 2 subgroups, A and B. Is it clear to all of you? First, 8 vertical columns are made. Each column is known as group. Every group is divided into 2 subgroups, A and B. What about the 8th group? 8th group has not been divided into subgroups, and these all have 2 in a horizontal line, but it has 3 and it is not divided, and these elements which are put in these 8 groups, they are transition elements. Transition elements, and Mendel did not give any explanation why he did not divide it into subgroups. Just he made an 8th group and 3 elements are put together in 8th group. Later on, it was found that these were transition elements. So this is about the vertical column. Now we come to the horizontal lines. In horizontal lines, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, there should be 6. How? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. These two are in 4, these two are in 5, these two are in 6. So 6 horizontal lines were prepared, and he called these horizontal lines as periods. So each period has series, 2 series. These having no series, this has series 1 and this is series 2, series 1, series 2, series 1 and series 2. Some of the periods they are divided into 2 series, 1 and 2, and rest of the periods they don't have any series. Up to 3 there are no series, and from 4th horizontal line or from the 4th period each has 2 series. First series, second series, first series, second, first, second. They are divided into 2 series like subgroups, so there are series. So Mendeleev formed his table in this way: 8 groups and 6 periods, the horizontal line. Later on, a 7th period is also discovered, which has the elements which were discovered later on after the Mendeleev table. So 7th period is also there, and one more group is added, and that group was known as zero group after Scott, a scientist, has discovered 5 noble gases or inert gases. Inert gases were discovered later because they do not react with any other element. They are unreactive, they are inactive. So later on, Scott, a very famous scientist, he discovered 5 noble gases, and these noble gases were given a separate group, a vertical group known as zero group, and all the noble gases, they were adjusted in this zero group without disturbing this table. And these noble gases were helium, neon, argon, krypton and so on. So 5 noble gases were discovered, and these were given zero group, and these noble gases, they did not disturb the Mendeleev's table. So this is how this table is formed. So his criteria for classification, one we have discussed is atomic masses. In increasing atomic masses, the elements are put. The second criteria of his classification was the chemical compounds. Chemical compounds formed by different elements, and he took 2 compounds. One are oxides and others are hydrides. They form compounds with oxygen, hydride, they form compound with hydrogen. So because this oxygen is planetary in atmosphere, and most of the elements they react with hydrogen to form hydrides, so this criteria is also taken to group the different elements. In one group, suppose this is lithium, sodium, potassium, these 3, they form same type of oxide with oxygen and same type of hydride with hydrogen. How? Lithium, Li2O is the formula for lithium oxide, Na2O, K2O. These are the oxides of these. So they are having same oxides, so they are grouped under one group. Likewise, the hydride LiH, NaH, KH, they are the hydrides of these. So one group under one subgroup, but MgO is oxide, CaO, BeO. These are the oxides of these elements. So they have same oxides and same hydroxide. They are grouped under the same subgroup of a group. So this is how Mendeleev classified on two points. One is atomic masses and second is chemical compounds formed with oxygen and hydrogen. So this is the basis of classification of Mendeleev. Now a question arises in our minds, why there are these subgroups. What you want to explain by having these subgroups? So in one group, this is first group, the members of one subgroup, they are having similar properties, and the members of B subgroups, they are not exactly similar to the first one, but they are near about, they are very close to A. Likewise, A has all the similar and B has somewhat similar, related or close to the properties of A group. So he divided each group into subgroups. Like here, if we see valency of hydrogen, lithium, sodium, potassium, all have valency 1, and copper, silver, gold, they have variable valency, but 1 and 2, they have two valencies, but 1 is the valency. So valency of these are similar, so they are put in the same group. Here valency is 2 and valency here is also 2, so they are put in the same group. Why all are put in the same group? Here the valency is 1, here valency is 2, here valency is 3, valency is 4, and the fifth one, valency is 3. How it is 3? Because after 4 we subtract 8 minus 5. This is fifth group, so the valency will be 8 minus 5. So not in 4. In fifth, the valency will be 8 minus 5. That is, all the elements will have valency 3. N, P, all these have nitrogen, phosphorus, 3 valency. Now in the fourth group, the valency will be 2. Oxygen, sulfur, we know 2 valency, and these are halogens, they have valency 1. No valency is attributed to this 8th group, and he did not explain why valencies are not attributed to this 8th group. So these are the valencies of the groups 1, 2, 3, 4 and 3, 2, 1. So this is how Mendeleev classified all the elements. One more thing, he clarified that as we go from left to right, as we proceed here to here, from left to right, the metallic character, it changes. From metals, we have non-metals. Take this, sodium, magnesium, aluminium, very much metal, they have metallic character. Then silicon is metalloid, we know this. But phosphorus, sulfur and chlorine, they are non-metallic. Chlorine is the highest non-metallic and in gradation. So there is a gradation in property when we go from left to right. Metals, they change to non-metals. This is also one of the criteria of Mendeleev. So in this way, Mendeleev described his table. Now about the merits. Why his table was so famous? He was the first to classify all the 63 elements and in a fabulous, fantastic way. And he should have given Nobel Prize. But alas, he did not get Nobel Prize. After him, Scott, who discovered these gases, he got Nobel Prize, but not Mendeleev. But this is being rectified by given this. This is element 101. This 101 element, which was not named till now, it was named as Mendeleevium. So the name of the 101 element was given the name Mendelevian to honor him for his periodic table. So this is one thing. Now about the merits of Mendel. And one thing more, it is said Mendeleev saw a dream. He saw this table in his dream. He was working for 3 continuous days without sleeping, and when he fell asleep after 3 days, in his dream he saw the periodic table, and next day after waking up he write all the elements like this as he saw in his dream. This is just, it may be a story, we don't know the truth about the story, but it is said that he saw this periodic table in his dream. Now coming to the topic, what are the merits of Mendeleev? So there are 4 merits, which the important 4 merits and important 4 demerits or limitations. These are asked in exam, only merit and demerits mostly asked. You should listen carefully. So I am writing on the board what are 4 merits and what are 4 demerits. First, the merit I will write here. So the first merit of Mendel is Mendeleev. He classified, I am writing in short, he classified all 63 elements known at that time. So this is one of the biggest achievement of Mendeleev, and for us also, for the world of science also. Second, he predicted, this is the most important one, he predicted existence of some undiscovered elements. What is this? He predicted existence of some undiscovered elements, and he left gaps. Most important thing, he left gaps in his table for future undiscovered elements. What is this? How he knew that some elements should be discovered in future which are not present today? How he noticed that? Why he left some gaps in the table? So you can see these: gallium, germanium. So he left, after calcium there is titanium, and he saw that the atomic mass of titanium and calcium, there is a big gap in between atomic mass of calcium and titanium. So he predicted there should be other elements in between these 2 elements. So he left a gap here in place of scandium. This element is scandium, which is discovered later of this Mendeleev table. But there was a gap in Mendeleev table at this place, at the place of scandium. Like in between zinc and arsenic, a huge gap in atomic mass was there. So he thought this huge gap is due to that there should be some more undiscovered elements. They should come at this in between these zinc and arsenic. So he left 2 gaps, one for gallium and one for germanium. At that time, this gallium and germanium were not discovered. A gap was here and a gap was here at this place. So 3 gaps and more also he left in his table, and predicted that there should be some undiscovered element should come in these places. So this is the most important achievement of Mendeleev. One of the best merits that he left gaps in his table. So this is one thing, this is the second. The third is he also predicted properties, even properties of this undiscovered metal, their atomic masses near about, their densities, their refractive indexes. So these properties are also predicted by Mendeleev for these undiscovered elements. And later on, when they were discovered, their properties resembled very much the properties given by Mendeleev. So it is a magic, it is a fantabulous achievement of, you can write, undiscovered elements. So this is his third merit. And the fourth merit is, at that time, as I have told you, noble gases were not discovered. But he presented his table in a way that when noble gases were discovered, they did not disturb the table. A new group is formed for them and they are placed in a vertical group, zero group, and Mendeleev table was intact. So the fourth is discovery of noble gases did not disturb his table. So these are four achievements. Now we will discuss about these three elements which were discovered later, from where Mendeleev left gaps. So we will see what is this. These are asked many times. So we will see these gaps. Mendel did not know the elements or the name of the elements, so he has given three names known as Eka boron, Eka aluminium, and Eka silicon. What is this Eka? Eka is a Sanskrit word and the meaning of the Eka is one. Meaning of this Eka is one. Why a Russian scientist took a Sanskrit word at that time? Mendeleev had a friend who was a scholar of Sanskrit. So Mendel used this word Eka in his table, and his friend, some Russian friend, he used this word Eka, a Sanskrit word, in his sound. He was doing research with sound, so he used this word Eka in sound, and Mendel used this word in his table. Eka in Sanskrit means one. So what he said, that Eka boron means one element after boron. So this element, this is after boron, and he leave a gap here, and later it was discovered as scandium. So Eka boron is scandium after this boron. Eka means after or one after. So Eka aluminium, second is, this is aluminium and this is Eka aluminium. Eka aluminium is gallium, which was discovered afterwards. Mendeleev have given the name Eka aluminium, but now we know it is gallium and it has all the properties same as was given by Mendeleev, and it is with aluminium. Aluminium is Al2O3, gallium is Ga2O3. The same properties of aluminium and gallium are there. Now this is the third one, eka silicon. It is germanium. Germanium is a metalloid. Silicon is also a metalloid. So eka silicon, one after the silicon, is germanium, which is later discovered, and it has all the properties common to silicon. Silicon is metalloid, germanium is also metalloid. Both have valency 4. These have valency 3. So these three are, and other also, these three are discovered from a gap Mendel left in his table. So this is one of the most important point of Mendeleev in his table. So these are 4 merits of Mendeleev table. Now we will discuss the demerits. What are the demerits? What are the limitations? What mistakes Mendeleev did and how these mistakes were there. But look at the time in 18th century or 19th century, so early, when there were no instruments, nothing, and they have done such a magical work. So what are the limitations or demerits? The first one is about the position of hydrogen, and this position of hydrogen is not clear even today. In modern periodic table, the modern periodic table is also 100 years old now, but we are calling it modern. But after this, in 100 years also, the position of hydrogen is not clear even today. So in your modern periodic table, you will see that this hydrogen, there is a gap between hydrogen and lithium. It is put above lithium but with a gap. So Mendeleev classified this hydrogen with lithium, sodium, potassium. They have nothing in common except the valency is 1. Hydrogen is non-metal. These are very active metals, but their valency is same. And second, hydrogen also form H2O like Na2O. Their oxides are same, and their halides are also same, NaCl, HCl. So some similarities are there, but is altogether different from these metals. This is a non-metal and these are metals, and many other dissimilarities are there. So hydrogen should not be classified in group 1 with these metals. So this is one of the limitations of Mendeleev, which even today are not resolved. The next limitation is about isotopes. Isotopes are elements with same atomic number but different atomic masses. That is, they are same elements, and we have examples of hydrogen. Hydrogen is present in 3 isotopic forms: protium, deuterium and tritium. Likewise, carbon is present in 2 forms, 12 and carbon 14. Oxygen is found in 2 forms, O16 and O18. These are isotopes and they have different atomic masses. So if suppose oxygen is there, so if this is O16, then O18 should be at this place, because this table is according to atomic masses. They are arranged in increasing order. This is O16, so A18 should be there. But both are placed in one group, O16 and 18. They are grouped together. So this is a contradiction of its own law. Both they are grouped same, carbon, hydrogen, they are having a single slot in a group. Though if they have different atomic masses, they should be placed at different places. So this is one of the flaw of Mendeleev's table. And the third one is about some of the elements. They are placed wrongly, like this cobalt and nickel. Cobalt is heavier than nickel. It has more atomic mass than nickel. But to adjust the property of cobalt with other elements, it is put before nickel to adjust its property. So it is a contradiction of its own law. In fact, cobalt should come after nickel, as the atomic mass of cobalt is more than nickel. This is one flaw. One more is there about the vanadium. Here is vanadium here. Vanadium and chromium. This group, and they are known as anomalous. Anomalous pairs. Anomalous means different, different or wrong. So these are anomalous pairs, vanadium and chromium and cobalt and nickel. And the fourth demerit of this is that dissimilar elements are put together in one group and similar elements they are put apart. Like here, copper, silver, gold, they are elements which are not like lithium, sodium, potassium, but they are put in the same group. They are quite dissimilar with each other. And like here also, zinc, cadmium, mercury, they are different than magnesium, calcium and strontium, but they are put in the same group. So this is one of the flaws. And similar elements they are put apart, like gold and platinum. They have similar properties, but they are quite far from each other. And one more thing about the merits, I have left one point, and what is that? Mendeleev also corrected some atomic mass which were wrong. As for beryllium, he corrected the atomic mass of beryllium. It was said that the mass was 13.6, but now he corrected it to 9.2, and that was the correct mass of beryllium. He also corrected the mass of gold and platinum. At his time, it was thought that platinum is heavier than gold, but he corrected the mass, and now we know platinum is lighter than gold. Its mass is more, its mass is less. So these are some merits and demerits, and these are asked in exam. You have to go through these thoroughly, should learn these, remember these by heart. And this is all for Mendeleev table, and in the next video we will do the modern periodic table by Bohr, Neal and Moseley. This is all for today. Thank you.